more. I mean, I don't know what else the kid needs to do. I mean, Josh Allen had haters in year 3. So if Josh Allen has haters in year 2 and 3 of his career, there's no way Shedeur can avoid it. But I've watched every play, every snap of Shedeur Sanders, and he should be proud of what he had to go through and survive and to come out winning that game yesterday, driving them down to get into field goal range inside of 50 yards to make that field goal and win it. Everything about Shedeur Sanders screams he's the quarterback. But if people are going to negative in April, they're going to be negative now because they're going to be like, oh, where is he ranked? Forget that. If you're going to sit there and tell me you weren't impressed with the rookie year of Shedeur Sanders, I would say you weren't watching the same game I was.
Mel Kiper Jr. just ripped the mask off the Cleveland media, and he did it without blinking. He flat out exposed how certain local voices have been lying about Shedeur Sanders' stats and overall performance, and he wasn't subtle about it at all. If you've followed the Browns this season, you already know it's been chaos. High expectations, constant frustration, flashes of hope that disappear just as fast, and nonstop noise from every direction. But what most fans don't realize is that behind the scenes, a specific narrative has been carefully pushed by parts of the Cleveland media. And it hasn't been accidental.
Everything about Shedeur Sanders screams he's the quarterback. But if people are going to negative in April, they're going to be negative now because they're going to be like, oh, where is he ranked? Forget that. Look at the interceptions that were off of Jerry Jeudy, off of Judkin's shoulder. Batted balls like Burrow had one yesterday, batted in a pick 6. You blaming Burrow for that? No. You're blaming Shedeur for a couple batted balls that were picked off? You shouldn't, okay? So you're going to be fair.
They've been telling fans that Shedeur Sanders has been a disappointment, that he hasn't lived up to the hype, that the Browns already need to start planning their next quarterback move. And according to Mel Kiper Jr., that entire storyline is built on twisted facts, missing context, and selective outrage. Kiper didn't dance around it. He said it directly. Media members pushing the idea that Shedeur Sanders wasn't good this season are lying about his performance. Let that sit for a second. One of the most respected evaluators in football just accused local media of selling fiction instead of analysis. This isn't some hot-take disagreement or friendly debate about rankings. Kiper made it clear that numbers are being framed dishonestly, situations are being ignored, and criticism is being amplified beyond reason. The truth is getting buried under bias, impatience, and lazy narratives.
That's not changing. That's not changing, though.
In great weather and brutal weather conditions. If you're going to sit there and tell me you weren't impressed with the rookie year of Shedeur Sanders.
And when Kiper broke it down, the hypocrisy became impossible to ignore. Yes, Shedeur Sanders threw interceptions. Nobody denies that. Mistakes happened. There were moments where he looked like a rookie trying to survive NFL speed, NFL disguises, NFL pressure. That's real football. That's normal development. But this is where Kiper completely dismantled the Cleveland media narrative. He asked a question so simple that it exposes everything. Why is Shedeur Sanders being crushed for interceptions while Joe Burrow gets praised and protected for doing the exact same thing this season? Think about that. Joe Burrow.
Burrow will become the first quarterback to make his initial NFL start in one of the international games. Jason Lloyd with his thoughts on Dillon Gabriel.
I actually think Dillon is going to be competent. I don't think he's going to be a star. I don't think he's not throwing for 300 yards or anything like that. But I do think he's going to.
A proven quarterback with years in the league, multiple training camps, full organizational trust, and total offensive control throws interceptions, and it's suddenly bad luck. Offensive line issues. Timing problems with receivers. There's always an excuse ready. But when Shedeur Sanders, a rookie in his first NFL season, throws a pick, the knives come out immediately. Suddenly, he's not the guy. Suddenly, he's holding the franchise back. Suddenly, Cleveland needs to start over.
Screams he's the quarterback, but if people are going to negative in April, they're going to be negative now because they're going to be like, oh, where is he ranked? Forget that. Look at the interceptions that were off of Jerry.
That's not football logic. That's not analysis. That's a double standard. And Mel Kiper Jr. made it painfully clear that this kind of coverage isn't rooted in honest evaluation. It's rooted in impatience, preconceived expectations, and selective tolerance for mistakes. Here's the part that makes it even worse. Shedeur Sanders didn't walk into a perfect situation. He didn't inherit stability, continuity, or a fully loaded roster built around his strengths. He stepped into one of the most difficult quarterback environments in the league. New systems, constant pressure, a fan base desperate for instant results.
Get them into the right calls. I think he can get them lined up. I think he can complete passes, get the ball out quickly, and keep the chains moving and not turn the ball over. And that's what they're looking for.
A media market that's been burned so many times it refuses to wait even a single season. That matters. Context matters. Kiper emphasized that rookie quarterbacks are supposed to struggle. They're supposed to learn the hard way. They're supposed to make mistakes, adjust, and grow. That's how franchise quarterbacks are built. Not by perfection, but by resilience. But Cleveland media doesn't want patience. They want instant validation. And when they don't get it, they rewrite reality. They ignore progress. They downplay growth. They magnify mistakes. And then they pretend it's just criticism. Mel Kiper Jr. wasn't having it. He called out the inconsistency. He called out the misleading framing. And most importantly, he called out the idea that Shedeur Sanders somehow failed expectations in a season where the deck was stacked against him from day one. This is exactly how young quarterbacks get misjudged. Not because they lack talent, but because narratives move faster than development. And once a storyline sticks, it takes a respected voice like Kiper's to blow it up completely. And now that he has, the Cleveland media doesn't get to hide anymore. The numbers are there. The context is there. The double standard is exposed.
When you're the Cleveland Browns and you draft Shedeur Sanders, you know what comes with it. Only way you can eliminate that if he's drafted to a team that has a Patrick Mahomes, a Josh Allen, a Joe Burrow. So he gets drafted to a team that doesn't have an answer at quarterback. And now you're not giving me reps? I played a long time. I've never seen that. When you don't have your quarterback and you're trying to find your quarterback. He's smiling in the press conference, unfiltered belief in what he can do. Considering I get drafted to a team without a quarterback, because we don't know who's going to be the quarterback, and y'all really not giving me reps, and he's smiling through it all.
Yeah.
This was never a situation where Shedeur Sanders walked into stability or comfort. He wasn't drafted by a team with a dominant offensive line, proven weapons, and a calm fan base willing to wait and let a young quarterback grow. This was Cleveland, a franchise starving for answers, battered by injuries, plagued by inconsistency, and weighed down by decades of quarterback disappointment. Mel Kiper Jr. broke this down in brutal detail, and it completely destroys what the Cleveland media has been saying. Before the season even started, Shedeur Sanders did not receive a single first-team rep, not one. Let that reality sink in. No real preparation. No timing with the starting offensive line. No rhythm with the primary receivers. No chance to build chemistry during training camp or preseason. That matters more than anything for a rookie quarterback. Instead, the Browns essentially handed him the ball and said, "Here you go, figure it out. Sink or swim. No safety net. No developmental runway. Just pressure and expectations. And let's not ignore the environment. This wasn't happening in a dome or under perfect conditions. This was outdoor Cleveland football."
I can't find a chart in the world that puts him statistically with good quarterbacks. But I can tell you, on my son's lives, I see a quarterback, I'm going, I've seen worse in a Browns uniform.
I know.
And then there's charts are going, no, Kenny, you haven't seen worse in a Browns. I'm going, I know I've seen worse in a Browns uniform, guys. I know it. I think I saw it earlier this year before he played. I know I've seen worse in a Browns uniform.
DTR
Brutal late-season weather. Wind cutting across the field. Snow coming down. Cold that breaks timing and kills grip. Conditions where even veteran quarterbacks struggle to complete routine throws. And you know what? Shedeur Sanders didn't fold. He showed flashes of real brilliance. He stayed calm in the pocket. He made throws that had Browns fans sitting up in their seats thinking, wait a second, this might be something. That's not imagination. That's what showed up on tape. Mel Kiper Jr. was right about Shedeur Sanders, and the season has only reinforced that evaluation. This young quarterback competed in some of the worst possible conditions and still delivered moments that mattered. But despite all of this context, despite the lack of preparation, despite the weather, despite the chaos around him, the Cleveland media keeps lying. They keep shifting the standards. They keep rewriting expectations.
When you look at what Shedeur did this year, not having any training camp, never with the ones, defense, offense, be thrown out there, playing in brutal weather conditions. I didn't know.
Every time Shedeur does something positive, the goalposts move again. And no example captures this better than Jason Lloyd. Let's talk about Jason Lloyd, because his coverage perfectly represents everything Mel Kiper Jr. is calling out. When Shedeur Sanders wasn't getting first-team reps, Lloyd said nothing. No outrage. No concern. No articles questioning why a rookie quarterback wasn't being properly prepared. Complete silence. Instead, Lloyd spent the entire offseason praising Dillon Gabriel, hyping him up as the potential solution, elevating him without once asking why Shedeur wasn't being given development opportunities. Think about that. He was perfectly fine watching Shedeur sit without reps while another quarterback received all the attention and optimism. But once Dillon Gabriel failed, once Shedeur finally got his opportunity, once he stepped in and actually won games, everything changed. Suddenly, Jason Lloyd couldn't stop criticizing Shedeur Sanders. Suddenly, the narrative flipped. Now Shedeur can't be QB1. Now he's not the future. Now the Browns should be looking elsewhere. The audacity is unbelievable. The lack of self-awareness is staggering. And this exact behavior is what Mel Kiper Jr. is exposing for the entire football world to see. Where was the journalistic integrity when it mattered most? Where was the advocacy for fair development during the offseason? It didn't exist. But now that Shedeur has stepped up under impossible circumstances, suddenly there's endless criticism and not an ounce of balance. So let's be clear, because someone needs to say it. Shedeur Sanders is the Browns' best hope right now. That's not blind loyalty. That's not ignoring mistakes. That's acknowledging reality. Given the situation, given the roster, given the history, given what we've actually seen on the field, he has already shown more promise than the Cleveland media wants to admit. And when we talk about Shedeur's impact, the numbers matter. The results matter. The moments matter. Take that first Raiders game. His first NFL touchdown. 206 passing yards. Command of the offense. Poise under pressure. Those are facts, not narratives, not spin. And yet those facts keep getting ignored, downplayed, or twisted. His performance, combined with the dominance of the defense, led by Myles Garrett, delivered a Browns victory. That's not opinion. That's fact. That's a winning debut by a rookie quarterback stepping into a hostile NFL environment and answering the moment when his team needed him most. This wasn't empty production. This wasn't padding stats late in a blowout against a soft prevent defense. This was meaningful football. Real snaps. Real pressure. A game the Browns had to win. And Shedeur Sanders delivered. He showed calm under fire. He showed accuracy when windows were tight. He made plays when the pocket wasn't clean and the margin for error was razor thin. He connected with his receivers, controlled the tempo, protected the football when it mattered most, and executed exactly what the coaching staff asked of him. The result? A win. So the obvious question becomes, did the Cleveland media celebrate it? Did they acknowledge what they just witnessed? Did they pause for even a second and admit that something promising might be developing right in front of them? Of course not. Instead, the goalposts moved again. The praise disappeared. New criticisms magically appeared out of nowhere. That's the pattern. That's the playbook. And then came the Titans game. Because this is where Shedeur Sanders truly put everyone on notice. In that game, he dragged the Browns back into contention almost single-handedly. 4 touchdowns, 364 passing yards. Read that again. 4 touchdowns, 364 yards. In one game, as a rookie, with no real offseason preparation, no consistent first-team reps, no built-in safety net. Those are elite numbers by any standard. Those are the kind of stat lines veteran Pro Bowl quarterbacks get praised endlessly for when they put them up. But Shedeur Sanders did it as a rookie who was thrown into the deep end without a life jacket. He carved up the Titans' defense. He stood tall in the pocket. He identified coverages. He delivered the ball with timing and confidence. And he led his team back into a game that was slipping away fast. That's not luck. That's quarterbacking. So the question has to be asked. Are these numbers invisible to the media critics? Are they watching different games than everyone else? Or are they so locked into a predetermined narrative that they're willing to ignore anything that contradicts it? Because those 364 yards weren't hollow. They weren't meaningless. They sustained drives. They moved the chains. They flipped field position. They kept the Browns competitive. And those 4 touchdowns weren't flukes. They weren't busted coverages or lucky bounces. They were clean reads, accurate throws, proper execution under pressure. Mel Kiper Jr. is absolutely right when he says the hate isn't going to stop. Because here's the part the Cleveland media either doesn't understand or refuses to admit. Rookie quarterbacks grow. They improve. They learn from mistakes. They adjust to NFL speed. They sharpen decision-making. They develop chemistry. That's how this works. The interceptions Shedeur Sanders threw this season are part of the learning curve every young quarterback goes through in this league. That's development, not failure. What matters is how a quarterback responds. What matters is whether the game slows down. What matters is whether progress shows up on tape. And it has. The fact that Mel Kiper Jr. felt compelled to speak out this forcefully tells you everything you need to know. This isn't casual criticism. This isn't normal debate. Kiper has been evaluating quarterbacks for decades. He's seen every type of hype, every type of bust, every type of media cycle imaginable. And yet, he's singled out the Cleveland media for how egregious this coverage has been. That's not nothing. That's significant. It means the criticism crossed a line. It means the evaluation stopped being fair. It means narratives replaced facts. And the most uncomfortable truth of all, Shedeur Sanders has already shown enough to justify patience, development, and real investment. Not panic, not dismissal, not manufactured outrage. Whether the Cleveland media likes it or not, the tape exists. The games happened. The moments were real. And if you care about real football, real accountability, and calling out false narratives when they show up, make sure you hit like, share this with real Browns fans, and subscribe, because the truth isn't slowing down anytime soon.